Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and having a great day as usual. To start things off, the co-founder of Reddit says that he believes that Ethereum will hit $15,000 this year. Alexis Ohanian, a co-founder of Reddit, said that he predicts the price of Ethereum will reach $15,000 in 2018. Ohanian, who now works full-time at a venture capital firm, Initialized Capital, said in an interview at the end of the year, Bitcoin will be at $20,000 and Ethereum will be $15,000. Great, now people can call me out if I'm wrong. He said that he's bullish on Ethereum because people are actually building on it. Should Ohanian's prediction prove true, the Ethereum market cap would soar from $67 billion, which it is today, to nearly $2.5 trillion, while Bitcoin would recover to last year's record high and price market cap of $340 billion. Ohanian's firm, Initialized Capital, has more than $250 million in assets under management and has invested in major cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase. Ohanian said in an interview that investing in emerging and innovative technology is a priority for the company. He added that blockchain, while promising, would require 1 to 2 years to reach its true potential. So this might be the craziest number that we have seen for Ethereum thus far. Last year, there are a lot of people predicting that Ethereum would hit, I think, 300 or 400. It went to 1,200. The craziest one that we've heard so far for this year, before this one, was that Ethereum would hit 2,500. I've said before, if Ethereum finally comes out with these upgrades that they're constantly talking about, they will definitely hit between 3,000 to 4,000. 15,000 would be insanely, miraculously awesome if it does actually get that high. But I think it could take about a year or two to get there. But I mean, no one saw Bitcoin hitting $20,000 last year. Next up, the chairman of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC, said this week that cryptocurrency is a generational interest and that regulators need to treat it with respect. J. Christopher Giancarlo, who was sworn in as the CFTC commissioner in 2014 and has led the commission since August 2017, shared his thoughts on cryptocurrency regulation at the Milken Institute Global Conference, which took place this week in Los Angeles. He said, we need to take a moment and respect this generation's interest in this new instrument, Bitcoin. He said, according to a Reuters report, not with derision, but with a little bit of attention and respect, and respond with policy initiatives that really are thoughtful and forward-looking. Giancarlo, who says he will retire very soon, compared consumer interest in Bitcoin to the cultural change that the baby boomers instituted when they arrived on the scene in the mid-20th century. He explained that young investors have much less interest for mainstream financial institutions due to growing up amidst the financial crisis, and said that they see Bitcoin as a way to remove these middlemen from the economic supply chain, which is very, very true. There are a lot of people, when they are asked why they got into cryptocurrencies, it comes down to the 2008 financial crisis. And even more so, a lot of these people talk to their parents about previous generational shifts and what happened. And this seems to be our generation's, flower power movement, if you will. It's all about trying to take the power back for ourselves. And I think we're well on our way. Hopefully, fingers crossed. There's going to be a very Ethereum heavy video because Ethereum is really in the news today. So Bhaskar Sharma, who wrote in Medium, has proposed a case for a more user-friendly token in Ethereum that will support the adoption of decentralized applications, or dApps, by allowing users to pay transaction fees using tokens rather than Ether. Fees in the Ethereum blockchain, which are needed to pay minimum miners for placing transactions into blocks and securing the blockchain, create friction for new users, Sharma noted. Users have to recognize how Ethereum works to understand the gas price and cost. This has been a very major problem, especially last year when the entire CryptoKitties phase was going on. There was a problem with people having to set their own gas limit. And if you are new to Ethereum or have never used it before, especially if you have been using it, especially compared to other coins, people had no idea what their gas price limit was. And people were adding in all these random numbers, and their transaction fees were coming out to be $15, $16, $17, which is, I think, one of the weirdest parts of Ethereum. And I'm not really sure why they set it up like this, for people to have to, in certain instances, into their own gas price. It was just all kind of weird. They also need to acquire the necessary Ether to pay for both of these. Such fees create unnecessary hurdles for adopting dApps with eternal tokens, reducing their ability to build out a larger user base, even as they attract significant mainstream attention. If this process could be abstracted so users could use the dApp without being about the underlying Ethereum network, these hurdles would be removed. So long story short is their proposal is ERC 865 standard proposes a system to abstract the gas and offer the ability for token holders to pay the transaction fee for token transfer in tokens rather than gas, all in a single transaction, because I think Ethereum has a lot of lumps. Just going to be completely honest, this is one of my favorite coins, but I think a lot has to be smoothed out before it really gets itself kind of moving completely forward. But let's see exactly what they plan on doing. There've been so many proposals the last 2 or 3 weeks about them trying to change things in the network or what's happening with it or what they're trying to make it more user friendly. And I have a feeling as to why this is all happening, and I'll kind of give you a quick overview of what I'm thinking by the end of this video and what I think is actually going on. Once again, Ethereum will not leave the news. The historic moment when leaders from South Korea and North Korea met on April 27th and signed an agreement for peace between the two nations has now permanently been recorded on the Ethereum blockchain, according to a report from CoinDesk Korea. A 27-year-old game developer from South Korea has coded the Panmunjom Declaration, which includes the line, "There will be no more war on the Korean Peninsula," in both Korean and English, and stored both versions in Ethereum transactions. This is actually kind of cool. There are a lot of companies who are talking about being able to do this now because there is, let's be honest, huge amount of distrust between countries, especially if there is an accord that is written between the countries. It's a bit different now because, we can kind of write things and, even take a photo of them and put them online. But to put them on a blockchain so that it is there forever, no one can ever mess with it, and this is how it will always be, is fairly significant, especially when it comes to something like this. I, growing up, never thought that there would be I'm not old, but never thought there would be a moment where North and South Korea would ever declare any type of peace between themselves. So it's very nice to see something like this, and it's even cooler that it's actually written on the second largest coin that we have out there. Goldman Sachs is in the news, and they have announced that they are trying to dip their foot into the Bitcoin pool. Investment banking giant Goldman Sachs will use its own money to trade Bitcoin futures on behalf of its clients, according to the New York Times. The Times reported Wednesday that while the exact launch date of the new trading operation is not yet set, the move came after the bank's board of directors signed off on the initiative. Goldman is also set to create its own, more flexible version of a future known as a non-deliverable forward, which it will offer to clients. Goldman executive Rania Yared said the decision resulted from a growing number of inquiries from clients that indicated interest in holding Bitcoin as an alternative asset. She said it resonates with us when a client says, "I want to hold Bitcoin or Bitcoin futures because I think it is an alternative store of value." I'm sure they've been getting this information for a while from a lot of their, not users, their clients or whatever you want to call them. There's a huge rush to get into cryptocurrencies right now, and a lot of banks are completely ignoring it, and there are a lot of banks that are not. We already have a couple of banks who have noted that this year or the beginning of next year, they will be opening up crypto bank accounts for some of them for, wealthier clients who, want to hold their 5,000 Bitcoins in a safe that's guarded by people holding guns. A lot of other ones have also noted that they're also going to start opening up some type of Bitcoin or Ethereum like wallet thing so you can hold it with them, which is kind of weird because you have to pay a monthly fee. But we'll see exactly how this goes along. So it's going to be interesting. I still think 2018 and even the beginning of 2019 to see exactly what's going to happen in the cryptocurrency space when all these banks just start happening to come forward talking about how they, for some reason now, like Bitcoin and how they want to get into it. And all their investors are definitely talking about it. So we thought it was time to get into it, which is complete BS, excuse my language, because we know that they have been interested for quite some time and just now they're all coming forward to talk about it. So Robert Sluymer, Sluymer, of Fundstrat Global Advisors, gave his technical analysis of 2018's cryptocurrency market with particular focus on Ethereum and Bitcoin on CNBC. Sluymer drew a parallel between the significant impacts of uncertainties surrounding regulation and taxation on trading prices in January 2018, which saw Ethereum plummet from $1,000 to $350, and today's situation. Commenting on the market's response to this week's reports of an SEC probe into Ethereum, Sluymer came out positive. He showed that Ethereum has been rallying back into the $700 range and is seeing a lot of resistance around its 200-day moving average. He further pointed out that one of the momentum indicators shows that the coin was in fact pretty overbought before the recent correction. There's a lot of hype around Ethereum and exactly what is going to happen with Ethereum. Pretty much he echoes the exact thing that this other guy said a couple of weeks ago. He says that he thinks that the market is literally screaming for people to buy it because he thinks that prices will not get much lower than they already are. It's kind of going to be like when you like light a match, or like if you light a fuse. He said people aren't really paying attention to exactly what's happening. A lot of people will be left out when the market kind of goes crazy and explodes, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. To finish things off, Ethereum has made sure that they are definitely in the news today. There's news about the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. Since its formation nearly a year and a half ago, it's safe to say that the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance has been quiet. Apart from a steady stream of new members, there have been a lull of live projects, one that has led some to theorize the consortium might not deliver on standards for enterprise use of the world's second largest blockchain. In a Medium post last month, for instance, the CTO of competing DLT consortium R3 even went so far as to stake claim, contending that the lack of progress proves Ethereum is unsuitable for enterprise. But if competitors were eager to send the EEA to an early grave, Wednesday might mark the consortium's rise from the dead, as the company has revealed the release of a new guide outlining its open standards work. Case in point, the consortium itself has swelled to more than 500 firms. We spoke about this a day or two ago, exactly how large the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance is, and just exactly what they noted before that they planned on doing, ranging from global banks such as BBVA, Credit Suisse, and JP Morgan to blockchain startups and traditional tech providers like Microsoft. So they have set a bunch of milestones and a roadmap for exactly what they plan on doing. Still, the EEA is working aggressively to deliver on its roadmap, with the whole process coming to fruition before the year's end. As a first step, the architecture stack EEA comprises 5 layers from the bottom up. There's the base layer peer-to-peer network protocol layer, and on top of that is the core blockchain layer, which organizes consensus, transaction and execution, and data storage on-chain and off-chain. Sitting on top of that is a layer devoted to privacy and scaling, again in an on-chain versus off-chain capacity. Then a tool layer handles things like permission, credentials, and how oracles interact. Topmost is the application layer. Today's publication of the Enterprise Ethereum architecture stack will be followed very shortly by the spec. That in turn will be followed by a testnet, and after that comes the establishment of a certification program. At the moment, Ethereum is up by around 5%, give or take, depending on which exchange you look to. I think there's a lot of resistance happening with Bitcoin at the moment because Ethereum is up. I think Ripple's down. I think EOS is down. So this, I believe, should be a lot higher, but Bitcoin started going down within the last hour or two. So, that drags everything else down. Regardless of what you might say, all the charts follow each other. Just look at the charts. So what I think is happening, like I said earlier, tell me if I'm wrong, EOS launches very, very soon. A lot of the promises that Ethereum made or has made over the last year and a half have not happened yet, and that is Casper, that is Plasma, that is sharding. I know a lot of people don't like that word. All these things coming together with the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, 500 companies who have promised that they would use Ethereum, that they would build on top of Ethereum, that they would make websites, apps, all these other things on top of Ethereum. None of this has happened yet. And with EOS launching very, very soon, especially, they say, EOS claims that by the time they are launched, that they will be able to do a minimum of 10,000 transactions per second. There are a lot of companies and people who were building dApps on top of Ethereum, who have noted that they are now moving to EOS. I'm sure that this has not gone unnoticed by the people who are in the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, or the people who are made Ethereum, or people who are invested in Ethereum. You know, when EOS was literally $7 a couple of days ago, and then it shot up to $22. I'm sure this does not go unnoticed, especially as the project is getting closer. I'm sure they've looked into the project to see exactly what's going on. So this is why I think we kind of have an avalanche of Ethereum news today. This is just how I not constantly feel. This is how I personally feel about what's going on today. I'm glad that they're kind of getting a move on, because so many things that we were told what happened with Ethereum have not happened yet, and has been kind of a downer. I know that they will happen eventually, and I think it comes down to being impatient. A lot of us are very impatient when it comes to cryptocurrencies, because we want everything to happen now at this moment, yesterday. So with EOS launching in 4 weeks and still no news on the major upgrades to Ethereum, it's going to be, I think, some type of a power struggle. I listened to and watched videos on multiple coins that I either have invested in or am very interested in, and the people behind EOS, and I listened to podcasts about people who are going to be building on EOS, and other YouTube videos for the apps that are going to be built on top of EOS. Ethereum might actually have a run for their money, especially because, sorry not to spend too much time on this, but because the entire CryptoKitties thing, and there's been about, I think, 5 other clones of CryptoKitties that were built on top of it. It slowed down the entire Ethereum network, and Ethereum in EOS is already claiming that by the end of this year, they're going to have more than 2,000 applications built on top of them that we already know about. And if they can go from the 10,000 to 100,000 transactions per second with ease, it's going to be a lot of things, especially when you look at the price predictions for EOS. I think a lot of the price predictions that we have for Ethereum right now are coming down to if they fully implement all the things that they've been talking about since last year. I don't think that it's impossible for Ethereum to reach 15,000 if we have Casper and Plasma, and they've started at the beginning stages of working on sharding, and they're able to do 1 million transactions per second, and tons of apps of them being built on top of it. There are a lot of people, more than 500 companies, who are invested into Ethereum, and they definitely want to see it rise further. And it's going to be a bit of a power struggle. Like I said, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that EOS is going to have at least a couple of months at the very top, and I think the price will begin to skyrocket, because once it's launched, there are a lot of projects who have said that they're going to start announcing things once EOS is fully live that they're going to be building on top of it. Not to spend too much time on this, but this was a very Ethereum heavy news day, because there was just so much news about Ethereum. It was almost impossible to even get around. There was also something else. I can't remember what it was at the moment. But Ethereum is definitely trying to make sure that they're staying at their place at number 2, if not eventually at number 1. All right, everyone. That is definitely going to do it for this video. As always, I hope you guys have a great day wherever you are, wherever you might be, whatever you might be doing. Thank you once again for all of the support. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you all soon. See you.